back, guys. Thank you for tuning in to Metal Roos interviews today. I'm Jaimunji, and I am here with Mr. RJ from Halestorm. How are you today, my friend?
Good day.
There's not a lot of opportunities you get to say good day with people not knowing what you mean. So, say it as much as you can. We've got I believe you got a special tour coming down here very soon, don't you?
Yes, we're very excited. We're so amped to be on Knotfest. That's a big deal.
Yeah. And that's an interesting lineup as well, because when you hear the word Knotfest, you think, oh, geez, this is going to be such a heavy festival. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of heavy bands on this special, but it's such a diverse festival. You got yourself, you got The Who, you got Skindred. Skindred I forgot about for all these years. It's such an amazing
Love
lineup.
Skindred.
How's it feel to kind of see all these bands and have the opportunity to play with some of these guys in such a kind of unique setting?
It's really cool to be able to meet bands that you're a fan of. Like
Yeah.
I've been a Skindred fan for a long time, and nobody, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but I'm just gonna say they should be a lot bigger than they are in the US because they're incredible. And if any Americans are watching, check out Skindred. They're incredible. And we also got to tour with The Who too. And I loved hanging with those guys because it felt like I was being introduced to a whole new culture, and they hold their music in a very sacred traditional way, and that was a huge honor to have them. They were, I think, one of the first bands that we went out with right when touring kind of became safe to do so again.
And how was that kind of experience, just before we get on to Knotfest a little bit, kind of getting back out there? Was there any time when, everything was locked down that you just thought, oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to travel the world again? Because you guys are a band that travels the world. Do you think, was there anything you thought, we're just going to kind of have to tour the US from here on out?
No, I didn't really fear that we weren't going to ever tour again because yeah, because that it just seemed very unlikely.
Yeah.
Touring has always happened, and I knew it would come back. Honestly, like for some of it, I really enjoyed getting a break from the road because it was getting really mentally and physically grueling after a while, especially
Yeah.
playing drums. It's really rough on the body. So it was bittersweet because yeah, we miss playing shows. I miss interacting with the crowds and stuff like that. But it also kind of gave me a chance to tap into other things that I and hone other things that I had been wanting to get better at, like songwriting, singing, and stuff like that. So I just focused on that mostly throughout the pandemic. And then also throughout the pandemic, I was like, well, what else can I do? And I started talking about fragrances on YouTube. So I started my Dr. Magnificent channel on YouTube, and that's just been snowballing ever since. But now that like everything's kind of crashing all together and real life is coming back, it's eaten up a lot of my time, but I really enjoy it. So it's all those things: Hailstorm, Chemical Fire, Dr. Magnificent. Like I'm really glad that I had the chance to try other things and learn other ways of entertaining. So
I was going to say, I was looking at your background. It makes my background look a little poor in comparison. You got everything kind of set up there. But speaking of YouTube, how'd you find getting on YouTube? Because it's a little daunting. Like, I know you're recording and you listen to drums back and everything you do, and you find little mistakes, but actually getting in front of the camera, presenting, and then having to edit your own work as well is definitely a daunting task. How do you feel, kind of, I guess, a second life as a YouTuber?
Yeah, I totally get that. Sometimes I'll watch a video when I'm editing it, and I'll just be like, "Oh God, I flubbed that, or I messed up that, or this and that." I try to script out as much as I can, so I have my points in order. But sometimes, like for a first impressions video, I'm just in front of the camera improvising and making it up as I go along. So the best way to get better at that is just to constantly film yourself and edit yourself, and that's how you learn how to approach recording the content a lot better, because now you're kind of thinking about the work you have to do later, and so it gets easier the more you do it. And I just got really addicted to it. I got really addicted to watching YouTubers on during the pandemic, like Cody Co, Tiny Meat Gang, Brandy TV, all these people that my now fiance was watching, and I was like, oh, this looks like so much fun. I'd love to do this, but I don't know what I would do it about. And I always kind of had a passion for perfumery. I think probably from the early days of touring, because you're in a van, you're touring in small clubs, you don't know when you're going to find a shower. A lot of times you're at a Walmart parking lot, and you don't want to offend, so you bring a nice scent, and then before you meet fans, you'll smell nice. So that's always been a tour essential for me, is traveling with a fragrance. But then during the pandemic, I started watching other fragrance YouTubers, because like the fragrance frag tube or fragcom, whatever you want to call it, is kind of a big thing over there. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'd love to do something like this, but inject my own personality into it. And thus Dr. Magnifiscent. Well, and then I came up with the name. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Now I know what to do. I'm going to dress up like a doctor. I'm going to smoke a pipe and go as like this alias character. And which is funny, because I don't present the channel as me. I play a character. So playing a character that's not yourself enables you to really just crank up the silliness, because I don't have to think about, am I representing myself properly? I can just play somebody else. And then this particular character is just a zany, wacky, crazy fragrance nerd. So I try to make it fun and entertaining, but also informative. I try to help guide people towards what type of fragrances they might like. If it sounds good to them, if it smells good on me, if it performs well, if they like the note breakdown. I've turned a lot of fans onto a bunch of different fragrances to try out, and I hear them in the comments. They're like, hey, I checked out your recommendation. I got a sample and I love it. Now it's my signature scent. And I feel like it's therapeutic for me to make it, and it's also therapeutic for others to want to treat themselves to a really incredible scent for themselves, because it can inspire confidence. It can help with mental health. It's self-love is what it is. And that's kind of what it snowballed into. So it's just really fun for me to do, because I love seeing the positive reaction from it.
And look, it's not a bad idea having a rock musician promote fragrances, because I've been to a few shows, well, more than a few shows, where I kind of wish more people were into fragrances, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm doing everybody a favor. But what's funny? Being in this world, a lot of my fellow musicians, even in the rock world, are major fragrance nerds too. I've a bunch of them like, hey, I saw your channel. I had no idea you were into fragrance. I love fragrance. These are the ones that I wear, and then we just nerd out. So it's really fun, and I get to like put on my Dr. Magnificent jacket and just be like, okay, tell me what you like, and I've consulted with fans like, okay, what stuff do you like? Let me tie in your personality. Check out these. You might like these, and I've actually like nailed a lot of signature scents for fans and people that I've interacted with, and I show them a bunch of things, and they're like, oh my God, I love that. Where can I get this? So it's just liquid love is what it is.
So when are we getting
it's the same as music too?
Yeah. I was going to say, when are you going to tie it together? When are we getting like a Halestorm fragrance come out? Have you thought about making your own?
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the time to like actually, I don't have the time and money to like invest in essential oils and all the lab equipment to like start tinkering and making my own scent, because I have so much respect for perfumers, much like perfumers are like songwriters. I have so much respect for those type of artists. But I would definitely, just like I collaborate with songwriters, I would definitely collaborate with a perfumer someday. I would love that.
That would be cool. That'd be interesting to see. But getting back to, you actually mentioned time. You haven't had a show this year, I believe. I think the Knotfest show's coming up, for the first shows, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. This is the first tour of the year. Yeah.
Set list wise, playing at a festival, because you're not just playing to Halestorm fans, you're playing to a lot of people that might be discovering you for the first time, and you're playing at a festival called Knotfest. Has the set list been worked out yet?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but like in Halestorm fashion, we love to switch it up from show to show and just kind of try new things. But the good thing about, the funny thing about playing a shorter festival set is that it takes the same amount of energy, because the break times in between songs are so much shorter. So the objective is, it's more of a sprint than a marathon. So we try to cram it as much as possible. But like you said, the lineup is really diverse. So we don't feel any pressure to have to represent ourselves in a certain way at a multi-band lineup. We just want to represent ourselves the best as possible.
And you're at that sweet spot too, because you're not too early in the day and you're not so late in the day that all of the Australians, because we're a little known for drinking down here, are too drunk to enjoy it. So it's a nice little spot you've got there as well. And you're no stranger to touring Australia as well. Do you have any fond memories of your time down here in the past?
Well, we're in Nashville. We're no strangers to drinking either, so it kind of feels like we're related in that sense. But we always have the best time down there. It's worth a 22-hour flight, you know, because I mean the food is better, the weather's amazing, the people are so kind and warm, and the crowds are livid. They're not livid, but you know, feral, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's just always an incredibly positive experience every time I go down there, and a lot of times I'm like, man, I don't want to leave. You know, Australia is one of those places where I'm like, yeah, I could live there if I had to. You know.
Yeah, it's yeah, we don't lack down here. There's a lot of good things coming down this way. But starting the tour off in Australia, you got a huge tour coming up this summer. But kind of what's next for Halestorm after that? Is we looking at a new music anytime soon, or do we have to be a little bit more patient?
Yeah. No, we started writing and recording fall last year, and we've been just writing ever since. And I think pretty soon after we get back from Australia, we're gonna go straight in the studio.
Oh wow!
And work on some new tunes. So hopefully we'll have a new album. Hopefully maybe next year or something like that. We're hoping. So.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And you've been doing this for such a long time now. I know the debut album was, I think, 2009, but you guys have been going since the late 90s as a band. How's it feel to be nearly coming up as a 30-year anniversary?
You know, it's been such a slow, steady, gradual climb that we've been on, and we're just lucky that we get to keep going, that we and we're continuing to build. Just really glad about that. I'm really glad that we weren't the kind of band that shot up really fast and then shot down really fast. So we're very blessed in that sense. We have a great team, and we've been with the same team for so long that it just feels like such a normal way of life now, just always traveling, always being on the road. We're so used to it by now. So it's just you just remind yourself that you got the best job in the world. You know, you really can't complain about anything.
Except the airports. I think that's the only thing you're allowed to complain
I
about.
would love to complain about airports because I've seen them all.
Like I get to an airport, I go to fly, and I'm like, at least I'm not a rock star and have to do this every week of my life, because I don't know. It's a tribute to you guys. I guess playing the show is kind of the free part. You were getting paid to travel at the end of the day.
Yeah, basically. Like I don't mind touring in a bus for weeks and weeks, but having to go from airport to hotel to gig to hotel to airport to gig to hotel to airport to, it's just, that gets really, really grueling after a while, especially because we're checking like 50 pieces of gear. So we have to be there like 3 hours before boarding, and we're a party of like, 30 people. So it's just like you just spend a lot of time at the airport basically. So, but at least you have nice airports and really good food and really and places to drink a lot. So that we know how to pass the time. And I can edit fragrance content while I'm sitting at the airport. That's the other great thing about doing it, is that it gives me something to do when there's so much downtime. I don't have to sit around and wait for stuff. Like like when I'm editing stuff, the time flies because I'm so in the zone and it's so fun for me. So that's the fragrance the Dr. Magnificent thing has also been therapeutic for me in that sense as well.
Well, you've definitely got at least 22 hours of editing time coming up very soon for yourself. And speaking of time, I better let you go. But before I let you go, is there anything you wanted to say to the Australian audience before you get down here? We're looking forward to having you again.
Oh God, the only thing I can really think of is thanks. Thanks for letting us come down there, because I feel this great. I just feel that, you don't have to be so grateful for us to come down there. I know like a lot of the fans are like, thank you so much for flying so long to come all the way down here. And we're like, we would come down here anyway, because we just love coming down here. So don't thank us. Thank you for letting us come down there, because the fact that you like our band is the fact that we get to go. So it's absolutely, like, the honor is 100% ours. And that is no lie. That is straight up. I love it there. I get, every time I go to Australia, I'm like, I don't want to leave this place. So I'm so happy to come back.
And we're looking forward to having you. Knotfest is next weekend, believe it or not. There's still some tickets available, so make sure you get the chance to go. It's going to be an amazing experience. I know, I've been to Knotfest myself. You're going to love it. RJ, thank you so much for your time today, mate. Can't wait to see you next week.
Absolutely. Which one are you going to?
Sydney.
Oh, good. I can't wait to get. Oh, you live in Sydney, right?
Yeah. I'm about 40 minutes from the city.
I love Sydney. Can't wait to get there. So can't wait to hang out.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good time, man. You have a good one.
We'll have a beer.
Yeah, for sure. Beer.
But we're not going to have a Foster's, right? No Foster's.
That's the funny thing about Foster's. You can't get it anywhere. We don't sell it anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That like the true Australians tell me Foster's is just a sham. It's not real.
Yeah, it's a farce. We don't actually
marketing.
Yeah, exactly.